Okay, this is the next installment of How Society Programs You. I really like this topic. I can't wait to get into it. So, as we all know, anytime humans get together, anytime people get together, it's a high chance that they agree on something, right? There's a prevailing thought process that is agreed upon, whether it's consciously agreed upon, like verbally said, explicitly said. For example, religion's an explicit one where they verbally say they agree with these certain principles or these certain ideas from a scripture, etc. It's explicit. An implicit example that's not like verbally said could be maybe a company, right? Some companies, they'll say their company culture kind of verbally. Some may not. Some may just, it's kind of assumed and it's kind of under the radar. Like you pick it up as you go along. So that's an example. But echo chambers are just a group thought process, and it's so prevailing and it's all you consume, and it gets to the point that that's all you know, right? You don't go outside of that group for information, and you rely on the group for the things you know, your worldview, etc. How do cults happen? They find people that are looking for some sort of purpose or some sort of meaning in life, and they bring them into this echo chamber of other people, and then there's this like-minded hive. The cult wants you to just stay in that hive and just think like the hive and not look outside. And what happens? Some cults may use threats, right? They may use manipulation to prevent group members from thinking outside the box or questioning the cult. And I'm not saying every group is a cult, of course not. You can still have echo chambers in pretty open-minded groups, right? There are spiritual communities out there that seem very open-minded, but if you really look into it, it's very dogmatic and it's very hive-minded in its thinking. So when we talk about how society programs you, and we talk about echo chambers, yes, society as a whole can be an echo chamber, right? Like, for example, one society can be an echo chamber if that's all you know, it's all you grew up, you never traveled outside of it. That can be an echo chamber, right? And then you travel outside and you get culture shock and you're like, whoa, what's all of this other stuff? Or it's hard for you to imagine other people's worldviews, right? Because you've just been in that echo chamber for so long. And echo chambers, they can have their place, right? Like, I get it. When you're in an echo chamber, your ideas get validated, and you feel good, or you have a sense of purpose, meaning you feel like you have a sense of understanding. But this video is to say that there are other things that can help you branch out than just the echo chamber. You can see echo chambers in everywhere. You can see echo chambers in fan bases, whether sports, movies, Hollywood, whatever. You can see echo chambers in friend groups. You can see echo chambers in, of course, religion. You can see echo chambers in companies, etc. And if it's all you know, then that group kind of just has you, right? It has you by the balls, for lack of a better term. It just has you. It has your mind. It has your self-esteem. It has your emotions wrapped into it, and that's not good, because if a group or some sort of establishment can have such control over how you think and how you move, you know, your likelihood of you kind of having a free mind and thinking for yourself gets diminished a lot. So how do you even avoid echo chambers, right? I'm not saying I've 100% avoided echo chambers in my life. That just wouldn't be true. But I can say I've dodged a lot of them just through self-awareness, educating myself, and being open-minded. Like, it's literally those three things that have caused me to just avoid so many echo chambers. And granted, when you try to dodge and avoid echo chambers, you may offend some people. Some people may not like you just because you don't think like them, and you want to be okay with that. Not everyone's gonna like you, period. Even if you think you're gonna get everybody to like you. So echo chambers are a hub of a certain worldview that gets spat out over and over and over and over again. And it's so important for you to see the weaknesses in various groups or communities that you're in, because I guarantee you there are those present. You get to see where things just don't align and they just don't make sense, and then also see where they do make sense and they do align, and then pick out the things that matter to you. There's certain YouTubers and influencers I watch from time to time, and I can start to pick up when their videos, community posts, etc. start to sound like echo chambers, right? They start to sound like this my way or the highway type of deal. And that's where, you wave that red flag, and you have to really think and be like, okay, where's this person going with this? That's the big thing to keep in mind when it comes to programming, because echo chambers, it's not just a sharing of ideas, but it also benefits people in a way, in that it can be a source of self-esteem. It can be a source of a need to belong, which is one of the human needs. It can be a source of so many things, right? But it can also have some underlying things that just aren't the best for you. So it's just a thing to keep in mind. Some ways to find out if something is an echo chamber is if there's a prevailing thought process that can't be challenged, or when it gets challenged or questioned, it's like this big thing. Another thing is if it's difficult to bring in new ideas. And a lot of times you can also tell if something is an echo chamber by who the quote unquote leaders of it are, how dogmatic they are, or how, closed-minded they are, how much they do research and read up on things. That's another thing. So that's when you can tell something's an echo chamber. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video on how society programs you. I'm about to go for a walk. Like, comment, and subscribe, and have a great rest of the day. Bye.